Hi guys, it's Maya here, and as you can probably tell by the title of this video, we're finally going to be talking about the truth about our relationship. And I don't feel obligated to make this video, but the only reason why I am making it is because I've been getting a lot of pestering and questions, and I totally understand where you guys are coming from because the last video I uploaded that was specifically about our relationship was the breakup, so it doesn't really make sense that we'd be back together and I wouldn't say anything. But I did want to let you know that I am keeping things a bit more private and off social media. I have my reasons. So we're gonna dive into the truth about our relationship. I just wanted to let you guys know that this video is sponsored, amazingly, by Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is an adult store company. I've worked with them before, if you guys saw my sex toy video. And they have amazing 24/7 customer support. They have satisfaction guarantee with 90-day no hassle return. And they also have a coupon code for me. It's gonna be Maya, and you can get 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada, which is a pretty amazing deal. And with Valentine's Day just around the corner, it's time to get that special someone something special, or for yourself. In addition, 20% of Adam and Eve's profits go to help fighting the spread of HIV in the world, which is pretty amazing. And they've been in business for 45 years, so they're very reputable. So without any further ado, all the information is down in the description box below, and we're gonna get started talking about our relationship. So in order to really get the full scope of this picture, I just wanna give you guys all the general details just on the table so you guys know where we're coming from and can kind of, I don't know, learn the lessons we learned through this experience. So we started dating in August of 2017. I'm gonna let Igor take the floor because there was a big shift the first time around in our relationship that really impacted our happiness together and made us kind of feel like it was the wrong time, wrong place situation. So
yeah, for the first few months that we were dating, things were great. In retrospect, that might have been because I was in a really good financial state. Because of that, I had a lot of free time and I was confident, and I had a lot of expendable, income. That changed maybe, half a year into our relationship.
yeah.
And then things went a little bit downhill. I didn't have a stable job. Wasn't really doing much with my time, and those kind of pressures that I was feeling from other things, seeped into our relationship, and things became a little bit tense, a little bit uncomfortable, and we just kind of let it play out.
Yeah.
And that eventually blew things up.
Yeah, so just a few more details I want to add to that is that it wasn't necessarily the financial reason why things changed so much. It's what came with that. So he was very different when we were dating in that first little honeymoon phase, or whatever you want to call it, from August to January. He had a lot of free time, like he said, because he was making his money in other ways, and he had this big, grandiose vision for what he wanted to do with his life and how he wanted to take me with him and stuff. And even just we were planning to go to Cuba or something on vacation, and just all of those things kind of fell through once he lost all of his finances or whatever. And so come January 2018, it was a wake-up call, and we stayed together until October. So I just don't want anyone to think I'm a gold digger, because the way you described it was very general, I had money and I don't have money and then she left me. And it's no. We really worked things out. I had actually just got a new job that January when he had lost his finances, and so I felt like I was working all the time, and it was at the airport, so it just put a lot of pressure on me and made me feel very tired. And then I felt like he wasn't finding his passion anymore like he had before, and so it kind of played a lot of pressures. And through that period of time, we had a lot of on and off moments. We took a lot of breaks. We had a lot of mini breakups. It's honestly true, work and financial stuff can really affect a relationship, because you're oh, we're not going out for food as much anymore, we can't afford to go on as many dates and stuff. And just over time you start to feel like you are not trapped in this relationship, but you feel like things aren't going anywhere. It feels stagnant, and I don't think either of us really felt inspired by each other because we were both going through our own things. And I didn't know what I wanted as much anymore, and it was the same for him. So there was a lot of, I feel like, communication problems because proper boundaries weren't really set during that period of time. We would have times where we would say, hey, you're open to talk to other people if you want, but just let the other person know. And then back to being committed again when things were good, and it was just kind of, do you want to ask?
The contract was you can you can talk to other people, but if you go on a date and there's potential, you want to break things off. That was...
Yeah, exactly.
That
so
was it.
There was going to be no like hookups or anything like that without breaking things off with the other person and stuff. Because obviously, like, you don't want to be in a relationship and not know that the person is sleeping around and get STDs and stuff. And yeah, so basically, but it was very like blurred lines. Like we would go through the phases where it was like that, and then all of a sudden things were really good again, and then we would be like serious and committed. And so we had a lot of those boundary issues, I feel like. And so next I wanted to just jump into the moment of the breakup and what led to that final moment.
Very dramatic. Being at Halloween.
I know, it was October 31st when I actually gave him his stuff. And I even have a video of it. I'll insert a clip here.
No!
Yeah.
Stop the
video. It was like a very like, I feel like the day that we broke up, it was like very sad for me. Like I wrote you that little letter and stuff, just kind of talking about all the good stuff.
Stop.
And I know you read it and cried and stuff, but so what happened basically is we had been arguing for a long time. So the last good memory I feel like we have is when we went to Niagara Falls. That was genuinely an amazing time. And we got matching sweaters just like we got when we went to Sable Beach this year. It's like a tradition we have. But anyway, so after Niagara Falls, we were just arguing. We weren't in a good place. Like he had started a new job, so he was like working nearby and stuff. And I just felt like things just weren't going well, you know? And we were arguing about the most annoying things. And then we had one big argument the weekend before we broke up, and we just weren't really talking to each other. And then that's when I started getting the messages from people saying that Igor had been messaging them and sexting them or whatever. And I even said in my, I'm pretty sure in my I'm single video, I said like I wasn't surprised by that. I wasn't like heartbroken. I wasn't really surprised by that. I wasn't like heartbroken or anything like that. That's another sign that I knew I wasn't really into the relationship anymore. I was like a little bit, I felt disrespected that he wouldn't let me know that he was exploring other options, because like I felt like he should have just broke up with me. So then I broke up with him obviously because of that, and I kind of felt like I was waiting for a reason to break up with him, like I was waiting for something to happen, and I should have also just broken up with him earlier. So it wasn't like a black and white he cheated on me scenario. It was very like gray area, and obviously our boundaries were very blurred, so I can understand why it was like that. Now we have very clear, monogamous, committed boundaries, and like everything is super chill and good. But back then, it was very like rough around that time. Like, do you have anything to add?
No, you described it perfectly. I don't have anything to add. And then the new year happened. We were apart for...
Yeah, so
like,
we spent like 4 months apart, I would say.
Yeah.
We did see each other in January and met for coffee and stuff,
of
but
2019.
we weren't like officially together until like March, I want to say.
Of 2019.
So we like explored our options, like self-discovery, you know, like the cheesy stuff. I actually even traveled around the world and did a lot of soul searching that way. And I feel like we both just realized how much we valued each other, and that we weren't going to find the other person in someone else kind of vibe. And yeah, it was I feel like we needed that time in order to truly appreciate and not take what we had for granted. Yeah,
because when we got back together, it was such a like perfect fit, right? After we've both been through very similar things, and then coming back together, it was very like kind of things falling in their pieces. Like, pieces falling.
Pieces falling in place or something?
Yeah.
I don't
kind
know.
of things come into place.
But yeah, so I feel like that was like very much needed time apart. And I feel like one of the morals of this story is that second chances do exist. You're not always going to meet the perfect person at the right time. You might be better for each other further down the road. For us, it was only like 4 months, but
Yeah. It's a maturity thing, right? So if it doesn't work out the first time, you're gonna grow over the next, 4, 6, 12 months, and just be open-minded to maybe trying things again, because you're gonna be a different person, and so are they.
Obviously, the most important thing is to identify the problems that you had in your relationship the first time around and see if they're still going to be existing the second time around, and make sure it's not a toxic relationship. You don't want to get back with an ex that you know is going to be a tumultuous time and that disrespected you. We never really had those issues. I think it was just like the boundary communication thing that really messed up our relationship that first time around. So we were able to identify the problems, and when we got back together, we were able to be appreciative for one another and really work on our communication and set clear boundaries and lines about what we expect from each other. And yeah, I feel like communication is just paramount in a relationship.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can talk about, but if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. I'll answer them for a short amount of time. But yeah, I'm happy to finally just be like talking about this in the open so that you guys get the full picture and all those mean people can stop leaving mean comments, which I'm sure they probably won't, but whatever. I've said my piece, and going forward, like, I'm not a weak person, like Igor is not a weak person. If things don't end up working out in our relationship, if things aren't good, like a year down the road, 2 years down the road, like, we have no problem breaking it off. We have no problem like moving on and staying friends. Like, it's all about respect. And I just don't like the image that some people are painting that I'm insecure and I'm trapped in this relationship and whatever, yada yada yada. It's just like very false, and it's bad to make assumptions off of something you know very little about. Social media was a pretty toxic thing, I want to say, when it came to our relationship. We did our like boyfriend tag and it was good and I loved it, but then I just felt like so many people were speculating and saying mean things, picking apart our relationship, and it can be very difficult when you have like unfiltered comments about your relationship being said all the time. And then on top of that, I felt the most betrayal after we broke up from some of my subscribers or followers or fans, whatever you want to call them, because there was a lot of people who went over to Igor and started messaging him and started like trying to get on his side, you know.
If I can say how immediate the result was,
Yeah.
I remember we broke up and it was like low key for the following few days, and then I remember waking up one morning and then checking my phone and it was just blown up, and I knew she had put out the news. So as soon as she put it out, I just had like so many comments, so many DMs, like, whoa, I'm like, it was crazy. So it happened overnight.
And I guess that's just life. Like, when you have a public relationship, there's going to be those people who are going to try to get in there, you know? And it just felt like kind of like a violation of my privacy. So that's why I'm keeping things more private this time around. And I honestly just felt betrayed by a lot of the people who I thought followed me and put their faith in me and like wanted the best for me. Like, I felt like they were just taking advantage of the situation. So I don't know, disappointing. That is all I have to say. Everything is positive vibes in 2020. And to be honest, like 2019 was really good. Like, we did a lot together. Yeah. We grew a lot together.
We went on so many trips.
Yeah, we went to Sable Beach, Tobermory, we went to
Picton,
Prince Edward County, and did like wine tours and stuff. So we want to travel more in 2020. And yeah, it was, I don't know, 2019 was a good year. I see so many people bashing it, but it was good for me. Like,
it was good for me too, like career progression.
Yeah, I feel like reinvigorated in making YouTube videos, which is really awesome. For a long time, I felt like I was kind of stagnant. I wasn't happy with myself. And that can also affect the relationship when you're not feeling fulfilled in yourself. So you seek fulfillment in a relationship, which isn't healthy. But like, lately, 2019, 2020, like I feel like I'm gonna kill it, you know? Like I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I want to keep making more content, and Igor's always pushing me to be the best version of myself, which is really nice. And yeah, I hope you guys found this video insightful and you got a lot of your questions answered. And yeah, once again, if you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you want to see more content and be notified when I'm uploading, hit that bell notification button. Only 8% of you guys are using it, so that makes me really heartbroken. Let's raise that number for 2020. And once again, this video is sponsored by Adam and Eve, which is an adult store company. They do adult toys, lingerie, just like really hot chic stuff. And if you guys are interested, you can use code Maya for 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada. 24/7 customer support, 45 years in the business, and with money going towards fighting the spreading of HIV. Like, come on guys, Valentine's Day.
Do it up.
Get that special stuff, you know. And that's all for now. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and let's get those 2020 goals.
Hoodie, 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 hoodie.